Hey, what's going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Wow, I haven't said that for a long time. I wanted to do the whole intro, but it just feels a bit corny at this point. So, look, welcome to today's live stream. Sorry I missed you guys yesterday. Family caught up with me. I was doing different stuff with LUNC Dash, and then I had some different medical appointments I also had to attend. My voice is definitely going to sound very, very raspy. I'm not doing too good today, but look, I'm hanging in there and I'm going to get you guys as up to date as I can. Just let me know in the comment section. Drop a like if you can. Share this with whoever you like. And yeah, just buckle up, grab a cup of coffee, cup of tea, fizzy drink, whatever you want to really dibble dabble in today. I'm dabbling in a Monster Energy because I just literally am dragging myself across the floor at the moment. I feel like a bit of sandpaper catching on absolutely everything. But yeah, just let me know, guys. I saw a couple of people in the comments. I actually put them in timeout because they're like, it's dead, it's not coming back. Oh, it's a zero. I don't want to hear it. If that is your view on things, if that's your perception, if that's how you feel, then this probably isn't this probably isn't going to be the place for you, my friends, because essentially Lunar Classic is this big ball of unknowns, right? You've got 110 validators that are all as equally responsible as each other, even with the higher amount of voting power that some of them have. We are all responsible for this blockchain, right? And we can all make a difference individually or collectively. So at some point, right, if we do get our act together, yeah, it's going to go up. But essentially, right, we all buckled up for the ride, I think like 4 years ago. And I said to everybody, I'll be here until it pumps. I'll be here until it goes to zero. But the matter of the fact is, like, if you're not happy, right? If you get annoyed, if you are very sad about the situation we're in, then you should probably think about ejecting from this ecosystem and probably crypto in general, because everything's down at the moment. And whenever I see people going around in that same circular loop of, oh, it's down, oh, it's all going to zero. I'm sorry, but every time it dumps, it pumps at some point indefinitely in the future. So all you really need to do is, if you are down on assets, just hold for the long run. You're going to have to go full circle in them circumstances. But yeah, don't want to hear it. Don't want to see people in the comments, just take it somewhere else. Trying to get some positive energy here going. Yeah, we're going to talk about the negatives, but I'm not going to sit there and tell you guys, oh, it's going to zero. Sell all of it. Oh, it's the end of the world. This is crypto, you guys. A panda can take a dump somewhere in the middle of China, and it could have an effect on some coin. It's just one of those things. One thing I will say, you are committed to LUNC. Not sure why. Because I am loyal. I believe in this ecosystem. And it's not so much, and I know a lot of you are here for the money, for the gains, for everything else. I was always here for the technology. As time pushed on, I begun all of this for you guys, to bring you guys that positive news that you couldn't really find anywhere else, when no one was talking about the LUNC burning that was going over on Binance. And, a lot of people still get confused of that to this day. And really, I looked at it a little bit deeper, and to sum it up, and this is why a lot of people get confused, they're essentially just moving a lot of coins through wrapped assets. And those wrapped assets were causing burns at that time. And that's what really lit the beacon for this channel to begin with. So yeah, I've just stuck by LUNC, and I'm always going to be here because I've got loyalty to this blockchain and a loyalty to my community. And yeah, last time when I actually broke my back, I was essentially here throughout the whole thing. But, me disappearing for a few months, I think was, for myself, very much needed, because I needed to focus on my health. But yeah, I'm still here, still going to be pushing content, but these live streams are much easier for me at the moment, especially with my my youngest. He's on his feet now, so he's got one gear. He's like Charlie Sheen at the moment. He's got one gear, bros, and it is simply just go. Oh my God, literally items in the hands, running around, stairs, all of those different things. Kids are insane. So yeah, these live streams are going to be much easier for me, and I'll be doing them Monday to Friday every day if I possibly can. But get comments down in the comment section. I've not been here for ages, and I was so shocked with the last live stream I did. No one had any questions. I was like, well, really? Like, I thought people would have so many questions about so many different things that have happened while I've been gone with Lunar Classic and USTC. And I just thought to myself, well, maybe, just maybe, nothing's really happened. And the deeper I dig, and it's again, we're in this perpetual loop of upgrades, right? What are we upgrading? The paint? No, this time we're actually upgrading to downgrade. Like, it's absolutely crazy that, like, there's no way that you can come out and be like, oh, this, this is really bullish. It's beneficial for the ecosystem. We're going to see a huge move upwards in price. It's simply not that situation. We've got so many different things that we could do, we could invest in, but we don't, because again, you've got 110 validators that are all equally responsible, and they can all equally essentially have a say, whether it's with their voting power or with their, audience on X or on YouTube, or whatever. If they're an influencer on top of being a validator, then, you've got all of these different things. But essentially, there's always going to be this push-pulling thing. It's like the democracy in my country. It's just push, pull. You gain a bit of ground, and then they lose a bit of ground, and then all of the changes they made get undone by these new people coming in, and then vice versa. And then again, getting caught in that perpetual loop of nothingness. So yeah, I have got crypto bubbles up for a reason. I am going to start getting into this video. I just wanted to really just have a little natter. Did you make an AI wallet that swaps UST and LUNC? You can swap LUNC and USTC on the LUNC Dash mobile app. You can do it on other mobile apps as well. There's plenty of places that have dexes where you can swap. We actually had a dex ourselves, although it's not up at the moment. But if you want to swap your LUNC and USTC, you can do it on the mobile app. Just go to swap and simply swap it. It is it's never been easier, in my opinion. I did a swap for some USTC to LUNC for some of the penguin treasuries. It was the clan treasuries I think I was doing. And I was shocked at some of the swaps that were available, because again, if it's a certain time of day or whatever, it's just the perfect time and you might get a higher amount. A good arbitrage opportunity could always be lying in wait with stuff like that. And I was kind of thinking to myself, it would probably been a few days after they were all talking about the market module and having this mint to burn. I was thinking, well, if they do switch it back on, right, they've kind of got a duty to figure out how that first trade-off works, because whoever gets in there first is going to be getting some crazy beneficial swaps. But yeah, not really walking down that route of a market module anyway. I think it's stupid without the mint to burn. But yeah, guys, keep throwing that stuff down there in the comment section. Don't forget to like if you can, guys. I'd really appreciate it. Goes a long way with a small channel like this. And yeah, it's a small channel and it simply does not grow. It grew to 16k subscribers within the first 6 months, and it's just sat there between 16 and 17k. So trust me, goes a long way. But look, we're still in DOWNTober. Things aren't looking great at the moment. There's loads of ups, there's loads of downs. I've got loads of articles to go through. We were talking yesterday about the possibility of America really pushing some kind of new rare earth minerals refining process somewhere in the world. And I think Donald Trump himself, he's really pushing to get all of this done in the United States. And something that I've been going over and looking at this morning is really pushed towards what I was saying yesterday, and the fact that this could be all going down in the background. Again, this is going to be something that's very beneficial for the overall market. Sorry, 2 seconds, you guys. Just got to tweak this microphone. It's going to make a few noises. There we go. But yeah, it's going to be really beneficial for the market overall. Anything that is to do with that rare earth refining process essentially being moved out of China, finally. From my point of view, the benefits from that are so great. You'd probably see a new boom, a new wave of investments coming in, especially in the United States, where you've got a lot of these states where, like Detroit, for example, a huge state during the car boom, and then now a state that's not doing so great. If they were to bring in this, you see where I'm going with this. So again, if we see a boom in the United States, it can be very beneficial for all of us. Aaron Medina, do some pull-ups to stretch your back. I couldn't even manage a sit-up at this point, Aaron. I've got... So to explain it to you guys, 2 of my lower discs, I can't remember what numbers they are, but they've both been fused together. So I won't be doing any sit-ups or chin-ups or pull-ups or anything. And it's great to see the kids grow up. The heart attacks it gives you when they try to, oh my God. Yeah, and they literally, they're like rubber. They bounce back with everything, but they're absolutely horrendous. Yo, Happy, I'm here. Great to see you well. Hope you're well, buddy, and it's good to see you back. Yeah, it is good to be back, you guys. Honestly, didn't think anyone would really be here for when I came back. I thought it would be a situation where I returned. Everyone was like, look, we don't need you anymore. Go away. It was great without you. And I was thinking, well, maybe it's time to like wrap up shop, you know? But yeah, I guess, you know, if you guys still want me here, then I will be here. So yeah, not looking good on the day, not looking good on the week either, although there's always those one random coin you've never even heard of that's pumping like crazy. Something I'm consistently dollar cost averaging into, and I don't think I'm probably not going to stop, at least for the next 5 to 6 years, I would say, with my plan that I've really got going on at the moment, is XRP. Like, it's an absolute game changer for anybody that's outside of crypto, right, and hasn't invested yet, doesn't have the time to invest, doesn't have the time to understand crypto itself. Just buy some XRP. Literally, it's not financial advice or anything, but you'd have to be crazy not to invest even just a small amount into XRP. It's going to go to at least $1,000 plus a coin. God, it makes me so bullish to think about it. But yeah, on the week, not looking great, you guys. On the month, not looking great either. That's what I was kind of saying, is this DOWNTober situation going to continue? This whole historical basis that we go off, that it was going to be in October, you know, it's always like this every year. It's crypto. Nothing is ever really the same. But let's take a look at the crypto fear and greed index. Not that this really means anything, because these things kick in so late. If they were that good at gauging data, right, it would be, you know, a game-changing thing, but it's simply not. So take all of these things with a pinch of salt. It's sat at 28 fear, which isn't really that good. But again, like the old kind of Warren Buffett thing, buy the fear. Like, it's true, but don't go crazy dollar cost averaging. If you haven't got any dry powder, as we say in crypto now, then you should start to think and reposition yourself and think, maybe buy less pizzas, maybe buy less Lego, do less of a hobby to maybe dollar cost averaging a little bit more into crypto. But again, leave yourself some dry powder. Even if you've only got $20 to invest, then only invest $10. Keeping that $10 is like, it's kind of like getting up every day and making your bed, in my opinion. It's real good self-discipline. If you can simply just keep $10 there and not invest it and sit there and look at it, then, well, you could do that with $100, or you could do that with $200, $300, $400. It can go a long way. Self-discipline is so important in crypto, and I think a lot of people act far too fast, and that really has an effect on the market. We see these huge knee-jerk effects when news goes out on X from Watcher Guru, and that's it. It just begins to absolutely capitalize on everybody's fear. So, yeah, just be careful out there, guys. You can get absolutely wrecked. Did your back get worse in the time you moved to the other country? So I was in Puerto Rico for around 3 months, and no, actually my back got better. So what it was, guys, I had an operation. The operation was just essentially some routine work I was having done on the area because of the scar tissue not healing correctly, and something got nicked. And a sac burst, and all of my nerves, they said it comes out like spaghetti, like wet spaghetti. And yeah, that was it. I just woke up and I was paralyzed. So it's not a situation where I did something or something happened. It was just that surgery, literally, guys. But you can go back to the other live stream, you know, the recordings there, go have a look, drop a like as well. But I explained a lot of stuff in that and got the thing up on the thing up on screen. Nice little spike this morning. I hope Alt Gene is talking about USTC. Now, I'm paying close attention to USTC because if anything in our sector, being Luna Classic, Luna, and USTC, if anything's going to move up right now sporadically, it's definitely going to be USTC, and it's already regained, I think, the majority, you guys, like the majority of let's close some of these tabs. The majority of its gains. Yeah, this is what we'll be talking about later, because my country itself was actually building a super power plant to refine minerals. But we'll get onto this later. Let's do a little bit of price action. Where's my drink? Let me know what you're sipping on, guys. Sipping on coffee. And if it is coffee, I want to know what coffee beans it is. If it's coffee that was instant, just don't even bother. Go sit in the corner and think about what you did. Let me know. Now, USTC has been on this crazy downtrend for a long time. And it's so long, I'm going to need to get a real big zoom out on this. As you can see, we had that crazy pump. And this was back around November 2023, and I can't remember exactly what happened here, but it was very interesting, and quite possibly it might have been LUNC. Now, some of you may remember this, some of you may not, but LUNC claimed a USTC burn belonged to them, and they said this because they knew it was going to happen. Now, to this day, I'm still unsure whether it was LUNC or if it was a TFL member, but a significant amount of USTC was burned, and I think that was what caused that spike, and it was a gargantuan spike. When you measure these things on any trading charting app, don't take it direct. It's just kind of like a broader measurement. Cryptos move dependent price-wise of what your gains are really down to how many coins, the price of the coin, how many zeros are on it, etc., how many it munched off. So that was around a 600% increase in price according to Coin Market. Nope, this is TradingView. So that's pretty decent. So what I'm thinking is, right, with everything that's going on with USTC at the moment, although nothing has been approved, there's still a lot of talk around it. Anyone that goes out looking for stable assets at the moment, and you better really understand that the human mind itself, if you have stable coins, you've probably all done this, is where can I actually earn more stable coins on my stable coins? Where can I go and where can I stake this? Is there a CX that will allow me to stake it with them? You're always looking for that, and people do come across the original product, which was UST, and those crazy returns it was offering. So USTC as a product, even USTC prior, still has some kind of net value in crypto. It still has essentially its word of mouth, if you will. People will still come, and they will still come across UST, and then obviously if they dive deep enough, knowing that now is USTC. All of the talk around possibly reactivating the market module, which I think you should do, but you should introduce the mint to burn mechanism, as crazy as it sounds, if explained properly. And the best way to really get something like this understood is to put it to work, because some people understand an explanation very easy. Some people need to have it broken down from, and some people just need to see the thing working. So one of those three, or all of those three, are really going to be quite beneficial if we don't try to do it. If we don't try to do this whole mint to burn mechanism and having it with its own pool, as I explained to Strafe, where it's in this confined environment where it can only do so much. There's a limit. This is going to be very beneficial, because that's step one. If you can then start to raise a buzz around this thing and kick the price up of USTC, well, it's a coin that can just really go to wherever. It doesn't have a set value. It doesn't have a peg value anymore. It could go anywhere. And at some point, right, if it does get high enough, you could choose to repeg it. Now, I haven't looked too deeply into what these guys' plans are or what they're going to do, but all of this buzz around it is definitely helped recently, because if you look, we're probably, about 20% off, I would say, returning back to where the price was before this massive crash. They're saying it was the biggest crash in crypto history for a candle on a day chart wise. I think it's the biggest one that Bitcoin ever printed, period. Now, I'm getting on a bit of a side story there, but the situation really is, right, and I do think this, we need to start to repatriate all of the loose USTC that's sitting about. And as much as I would like to see all of that USTC burn. I just don't think it's going to be of any value to the ecosystem if we burn anymore. The reason why I say this is we've got it so low that when I first did the... So we need to go to this one. When I first did the trial exhibit P301, when I looked at those last 7 Project Dawn wallets, I always knew it was going to be a separate thing, so I had to separate those aside. When I originally did the calculation for percentages, I look back at the video and I say in the video it's 1.2%. Okay, but now Project Dawn is the equivalent of 6% of the total USTC supply. So the total USTC supply, guys, is lower now than it was before the crash. And this is the even crazier part. It's lower now than it was before they launched it. So you let me know in the comment section, do you think it's a good idea? Do you know, should we just go ahead, right, and burn this final 6% of this USTC that's lying out there? And burning the assets or repatriating the assets into this mint to burn mechanism pool is doable because it's no different to burning. Okay, when you burn coins, okay, we're just sending the coins, aren't we, to the dead wallet? Right, so why can't we just change the dead wallet and put in this new mint to burn mechanisms community pool or whatever? Okay, so it's doable, right? But now you've really got to think to yourself, well, how do you convince all of the validators to really on board with this? Well, the idea is we're going to push the intrinsic value of USTC up in the future if we do this. There's no difference to us burning them or repatriating them. These belong specifically to Project Dawn, which is something that DK created, which belonged to TFL. DK's in prison. He's pled guilty. He's going to be serving probably 10 consecutive life sentences. He's screwed. TFL's done and dusted. We know that. So we can effectively, without any guilt, any kind of shamefulness, or feel like we're doing something bad, because we're not. It doesn't matter if we burn them or we repatriate them to the blockchain. I think we should repatriate them. I think we should do it to either have some liquidity there for a USTC repeg or whatever, if that's what they want to do. But what I think is it should be put to this mint to burn mechanism. Because the mint to burn mechanism and the whole way it worked was for this original ecosystem that was completely different to what it is now. I wouldn't really know how to say to you, oh, it would be like this, or it would be very beneficial, or it would be bullish. But with the right minds behind it, if it's built correctly and it actually serves its purpose of creating all of these different swaps, you know, doing the burns in a safe manner where it starts to bring the supply down, you know, these are all things that are going to be beneficial at some point in some way for our ecosystem. I'm wiping the keyboard off of my, wiping the keyboard. I'm wiping the dust off of my keyboard as I say this. If we do nothing, then we do nothing. We continue this whole sort of circle of upgrades, if you will. You could probably take all of the money we've spent on upgrades and you could probably put that to a lot of things that would do a lot more for our ecosystem. I'm sure a lot of you guys could probably say to yourselves in the comment section now, let me know, like, what could we say? Okay, let's just ballpark figure this. Say we've spent £500,000, right, overall since, you know, Lunar Classic has started paying out money from the community pool. Where do you think that £500,000 could have gone, what it could have gone on, and how it could have benefited the ecosystem? Don't be lazy. You know, write this out and we'll go through them in the comment section. I find this stuff really interesting because there's so many different things that, and this is going back to what I was saying at the beginning of, well, maybe nothing has happened. It just seems like nothing has happened. Just, again, caught in the notion of simply talking. I honestly thought someone would say to themselves, well, Jay's gone, you know, HCC's gone. Why don't we go and burn all of these coins that he's given us all of the evidence that we need to do it? Why don't we go and do it? Oh, it's crazy. I find that crazy that no one has thought to themselves, yeah, well, let's just do it. Let's do something. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Aptos has been silent. Boarding stables is crazy. A lot of cryptocurrencies will be worth a lot. Something that scares me though, guys, is that going, way off target here, but like Sony has been quietly doing a lot in crypto behind the scenes, and we've done episodes on the channel about this previously. But what scares me the most is that all of these big corporations, right? They don't want our crypto. They don't want our CEXs. They don't want our DApps. They want their own. Okay, this is the new .com era. Call it the .crypto era or whatever you want. I think, there's so many different names for it now. Whatever this is, the big players in the game do not want our things. It's really that simple. The only things that they're going to want is liquidity. If they can get something out of these ecosystems, like KuCoin, for example, knows that by staking a certain amount, they're going to get a certain amount back. But from my perspective, looking and doing all of my taxes and going through everything, validating on our blockchain, for me, is not profitable anymore. In fact, I'm running at like a loss now. So that is how bad it is. So validators like KuCoin probably aren't going to be around much longer when I think about it. When I say much longer, it could probably be like 1, maybe 2 more years before we see them disappear. But we're walking down that path. If we do get this price decline continuation, or if we get a massive pump and then we do come down after this super cycle, fingers crossed, you probably are going to see people like KuCoin just sort of disappear, which would be really, really interesting. Like, because they've been here, well, essentially since the beginning. They were here, I think, before the crash. So let that sink in. But yeah, I would say anyone who's ranked, I would say like 4 ranked above me, and then everyone below is definitely running not profit for sure at the moment with the price of everything. Obviously you have to hold on to your coins. You don't just sell them now at that low price, but people out there don't have that option. They don't have that extra, jumping board, if you will, or diving board, or we call it a float in my country, extra float of money. So again, let that sink in. We're running LUNC Dash. That's got a huge back end, everything like that, and everything is simply just in negative now. So for those of you who feel like we're at a brick wall, or things are really bad, trust me, for a lot of validators now that are doing stuff, it is getting even worse and worse by the day, by the price decline. Is it bad I still have LUNC staked on Terra Station? You're okay, so just why you got to talk. Your coins aren't staked on Terra Station. You've staked your coins on the Terra Classic blockchain. Terra Station is like an ATM. You can get Barclays ATM. You can get all of these different ATMs, but it doesn't matter if you go to a Barclays ATM or a NatWest ATM. Okay, it's still going to take your money from your Barclays bank account, right? And it's the same with Terra Station or LUNC Dash or Galaxy Station. It's just an ATM machine. It's just a tool. So wherever you've got your coin staked, it won't be with the blockchain. It would be with a validator on the blockchain, just to iron that out. Binance has got some long-term plan for LUNC, maybe something more than burn. Yeah, I have to 100% just disagree at this point. I don't know what Binance has got planned or what they're doing, but it's been 4 years now, guys, and I went through this in my previous live stream. We would get more benefits out of just simply removing their whitelist. Like, if they take the burns away, cool, whatever, that's on them. This is like my own personal view right now. I believe that we would see more assets burned. And people would be like, oh, but they'll sell all of their LUNC. I just don't see any of that happening. Like, I just don't see, the amount of LUNC that's on there, the amount of movements that they make with the hot wallet on a regular basis, we would burn far more coins. Far more coins. And we know this, because of the data provided by crypto.com. And some people that I have spoken to, in real life and people in crypto that I speak to quite regularly, we all feel the same. Binance is just Binance at this point. No one really knows why they're burning or why they decided to burn in the beginning. Maybe it was peer pressure. Maybe it was because CZ did have a plan to begin with. Maybe he had something bigger going on behind the scenes, but CZ's not here anymore. Everything changed for Binance when CZ got put in jail. So if there was a plan, then it never materialized. But I'm at the point now where Binance isn't coming to save us. Us sitting and saying to ourselves, well, Binance has got a plan, or this person's got a plan, or this is going to happen, or this might. No, we need to literally begin to carve out our own path. Like we have to begin to carve out our own paths and not keep going back on this cushion that's, oh, well, Binance has probably got a plan. Have they? Like, we could quite easily ask them through someone like Vegas who has a direct line of communication, but we don't. And these are kind of the things I was going through in my previous live stream. I just don't see it happening. I believe in data and what we can do and what we can control as a blockchain, and like all of these assets we went through and burned, and what a saga this was. I think this was one of the best times to be in Lunar Classic, not for price, but for just the amount of effort that was really put into organizing these burns and getting everything ready and doing the data. This is what I believe in. I believe in this remaining 5% USTC that's sat in these Project Dawn wallets. It's 358 million. We could burn it, or we could repatriate it or reclaim it, whatever you want to use for the wording there. But bring it back to where it belongs. There's so much evidence out there. I have so many clipped videos we could go through and something, and I'm going to do it now, actually. Let me just, because this is something everybody ceases to forget. It's very strange. So let me just go to my desktop. I'm sure I've got it here. It's this one.
All right. Shall we get started?
Okay, so what I'm going to play you guys is a clip from that famous Twitter space or X space with TFL Chris Armani, and this point is very important, and I think it's something we all forget about all of the time. And from my view, we are literally one bad decision away from something like this playing out, and it's with the keys, right? It's the fact that we simply don't know who has access to Project Dawn. We don't know who has access to any of these wallets. And that's why they moved all of the LFG assets to completely new wallets. But us as an ecosystem, we're just like, whatever. But when you have got 6% of the USTC supply just sat there in Project Dawn, this stuff starts to really ring home. So it's the 3-minute video. I'm going to play it now, guys.
Let's just start bringing people up, because last time we cut off early. There are tons of people waiting. I don't think anyone needs to hear my spiel again. Happy Cat has it recorded, so if you missed the last one, you'll find it there.
1 second, you guys. I've got to do a load of magic here. It's been so long. Oh, my sweet. Here we go. Okay. Okay, unsure on keys.
So yeah, let's open it up. I think I see a few people who, Diamond Hands, Happy Cat. There are a few people.
Can you let me know in the comment section if you guys can hear that video? I'm using OBS at the moment, and it just doesn't want to play ball. Okay, right. You need to be on that. There we go. That should work now. Okay, I may not be able to give you a video feed, but I can give you the sound.
Let's start with those guys.
Okay, we're bringing up Mr. Diamond Hands to get started.
What is up? You there?
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hey, thank you so much for having the second space, guys. I really, really appreciate it. I won't take too much of your time. I have one question, and it's a question on everybody's mind as far as the wallets of TFL, and mine included. Will TFL assist us, if need be, when it comes to, the USTC that is still us, or work with us to provide us a list of wallets, containing these coins, and helping us with the process of burning these? If you can't burn them yourselves, will TFL be able to assist us with that? Thank you.
Yeah, I know there was some. Yeah. Thanks for the question. I know there was like some consternation after the last call. Like, well, how do we know if they destroy their keys? Which is rational. That's a reasonable thing. Frankly, I was just so focused on trying to get the settlement on the Luna that I didn't really think about it. So yeah, I had thought that the wallets are already public through the bankruptcy process. It turns out that they're like partially redacted. So one of the things we did is I went back and just checked with the attorneys, like, can we just burn the LUNC and the UST as well? And it turns out that we can, or like I'm almost certain that we can, so that we don't have to argue about like whether the keys were destroyed or not, because no one knows. Like even I couldn't say with 100% certainty that if we destroyed them, that someone else didn't have them or someone didn't hold on to them or something like that.
So let me just again.
UST as well, and it turns out that we can, or like I'm almost certain that we can, so that we don't have to argue about like whether the keys were destroyed or not, because no one knows. Like even I couldn't say with 100% certainty that if we destroyed them, that someone else didn't have them or someone didn't hold on to them or something like that.
And these are the points that I think a lot of people, we get them out there once, we get people up to date, and it fades. It fades out, and people forget that we actually have these huge security risks. If someone did manage to get into those wallets and gain 6% of the supply, yeah, there's probably not going to be order books out there that could fill that order completely, but there would be enough to do enough damage, and the damage it would do would be irreparable at this point. So these are the things that I would always think that validators would be more concerned with, because I mean, what do you guys think? Is Chris Armani talking out of his backside? Why would he say that? And bearing in mind, TFL were ordered to do that space. That wasn't like them doing it out of the goodness of their heart. It's in the final judgment that they essentially had to do an X space, that they had to go and give everybody closure. They had to answer questions, and they did 2 of those spaces, and they're both fully recorded on my YouTube channel. I'll leave links at some point in this. I'll get them up, but there's so many points during that session that they just hang there on my shoulder at all times. And I think, is today going to be the day when I wake up and someone is selling USTC and everybody's like, where is this coming from? Who's managed to get this much USTC? And it's out there. It's possible. It can happen. These are the things that we should really be concerned about. And it's down to us to burn what remains. This is another thing that Chris Armani said, and I can play the clip. Let me know in the comment section if you want me to play the clip where Chris Armani says, we'll do what we can, we'll burn whatever we can, but whatever remains is down to us. Well, it's down to us. Jacko, we need to unwhitelist Binance wallets and start taxing them. Yeah, absolutely. I could not agree more, even with the fact that they're burning. Like, what are we, a charity chain? Like, that's what it feels like at this point. Essentially, like myself, like I'm running non-profit. I'm sorry to go back to this again, but I'm running non-profit, running at a loss. Like, again, like we're like a charity chain. We're literally like a charity chain. Like, we can't afford to really be giving one of the biggest exchanges out there that holds the most LUNC and USTC a pass. It's kind of stupid, but we've essentially checkmated ourselves, because trying to get the community to agree to that would just seem like the catastrophic end for everybody. So many people would say, well, we rely on those burns monthly, and without them, we would be nothing. Well, I'm sorry, but It's 4 years down the line and we're still no better with those burns, and we get them every month, and it does not make a difference. And I really do think this is just simply because we're not in a position where the chain has all of these benefits and a booming ecosystem and a vibrant ecosystem, dedicated developers. And when I say dedicated developers, I mean dedicated developers that are actually out there and saying to themselves, well, let's repair Astroport, or let's get this mint to burn mechanism going. Let's explain to the community why it's a good thing, and how there's going to be good safeguards in place, and trying to work on really relations with that. But again, it's the butt thing, isn't it? It's always the butt thing. Yeah, Jared Miller, shoot away. We're always ready for more questions here. With that amount staked somewhere, you get a good reward and buy back LUNC and USTC to burn it. So I really think this 6%, and it's, to be more accurate, is 5.92% of the total circulating USTC supply. So that's everything. Everything. So that's 6%. You could do a significant amount with that 6%, whether it was going to a repeg fund or it's going to, and I would rather see it go towards getting this mint to burn mechanism up and running. And the same with that LUNC that's available. Although it's only 300 million, it's a start. It's a start. It's stuff we don't have at the moment. And these funds are either going to sit dormant for the rest of their lives, or someone at TFL is going to get clear of this thing. And when they do get clear of this thing, yeah, they can do what DK was trying to do and get to a jurisdiction where they can just access these wallets, not your keys, not your coins, right? So from my perspective, the third option is we either burn them or reacquire them for the ecosystem. Yep. 8 wallets, I think it was. Sorry if we put the prop up again to burn the wallets. Before I put the prop up, I'm going to speak to all of the validators, and I think there should be like a signaling prop, but really discussing both options. So my idea is, and it's just an idea at the moment, was putting up a signaling proposal and saying in that signaling proposal, yes would mean to burn the assets, no would mean to reacquire the assets, instead of going down the route of having 2 separate proposals at the same time running consecutively. It's just, I think, a signaling proposal to begin with, to iron out the kinks, find exactly out what the validators and what the community want to do, and then moving forward from that point. Burning them, guys, is just going to be a one-time thrill. We've had so many one-time thrills now. We burn something crazy in one hit. I don't know exactly what the supply percentage was at that time, but it was a significant amount. We've done this a few times now, and it's just not doing anything. The USTC supply is like very low now. These 8 wallets should be repatriated. Like they should, 100%. And I know I keep rabbiting on about it, but yeah. And I don't see many of you piping up or like saying anything really in the comment section. So I guess you agree with me, or do you not agree with me? Like, let me know. Drop a like. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. So let's stop fantasizing over these 8 wallets and all of the goodness that it could do. And we're on the day chart here. This is a good start. This is a good recovery. The market itself's not looking too bright. Something I'm paying attention to at the moment is pump.fun. I don't know if any of you guys traded this area here. This was prime territory because it had its release and it dumped like crazy, and everybody was like, oh, it's over. But I thought, no. These guys know what they're doing. And if they've released a meme coin, if they have to do some nonsense behind the scenes to make it pump, then that's what they're going to do. And I think during the next leg, and I'm kind of like not banking on this chart playing out something similar to this, but this is what I'm aiming to trade. And what I'm going to try and do once again is buy that scoop, and then again buying that scoop, and not getting committed to this thing in any way, shape or form, and selling at both of those high points. And you say, well, Jay, what makes you think it's going to do that? I've seen this pattern play out before with a coin called Ponky, which again, we made a lot of money on Ponky. And I think this is what we're looking at here, you guys, something similar to this playing out. And they're never ever perfect, these chart patterns, the way they play out. They're never identical, but sometimes they are very similar. I think this is what's going to happen. And what everybody thinks at the moment is, you know, this is really the high. I think this is just a severe setup, a bigger setup in play that's going on. And if we do get altcoin season, you better believe it, honey. Pump.fund's own meme coin is going to be moving through the absolute roof. So the chart today is looking real interesting. I was saying to you guys yesterday, if we could see a Dragonfly Doji print, it's going to be really good. And you can see these time and time again. These are probably some of the best indicators that you can actually find on a day chart. This right here is the perfect, and I mean it, guys, it's the perfect Dragonfly Doji. If you go on Investopedia, you read about them, and then you start to understand about the green candles before, how they need to play out, and then having 2 consecutive days of downtrend, followed by a reverse Dragonfly Doji, you know, that's absolute prime territory for a big boy pump. So again, say we print a Dragonfly Doji here, again, like this one back here, the issue is you've got 3 consecutive days possibly today as a downtrend. What you really wanted to see is a green candle today. So say if we get a double print, say if this thing does go green on Pump.fun, this could be a good opportunity to dollar cost average in and think big. But this is a long-term trade. You've got to understand this is a day chart. If we look from this point here to that first selling point, you're looking at around 48 days. That's 48 bars, you guys. So 48 days, and then what? Possibly on that scoop, you're going to have, I would say, yeah, look, you're looking at probably around 20 days to dollar cost average in very gently. And like I said, that's what I'm going to be doing. Real gentle on these things, trading on MEXC, going for that maximum return, those low fees. That's what you're really going to be looking for with something like this. But this is just something I've been working on behind the scenes. Very similar setup to Ponky. And if anything has got the power to move during alt season, it is definitely going to be Pump.fun. But let me know if you guys, if you invested in that during that crazy movement we had during the beginning of August. Oh God, what I'd like to be back there. It's always the same thing, isn't it? I wish I bought more. Every time I wish I bought more. So let's go on and talk a little bit about our baby boy Do Kwon, because it's quite sad. From my perspective, it's quite sad. A lot of people expected, and this is the sad part, everybody expected this guy to get a pardon, a presidential pardon, or expected him to come out on top of this thing as if he hadn't done anything wrong. Those who have gone through and read the court documents and those who watch the channel consecutively here will know that he is guilty of many things. Whether he's guilty of the actual crash and everything itself, we don't know, and we'll probably never know. But he's guilty of a lot of other stuff to do with wire fraud, gaining, I think it's something to do with gaining transactions, knowing that you were doing it illegally and the details you were given were fraudulent. There's so many of these things that happened with Jump, with Chai, the fact that Chai was used to inflate Jump, Jump was used to inflate USTC, so on and so forth. So pyramid scheme, then UST, which was essentially a pyramid scheme at the end. So this guy is in no way, shape or form a good guy. He's not someone who was ever going to walk free, but the fact that he had pled not guilty was good for us, right? Because we were going to get answers. And you say, well, Jay, what answers would we really have got from a criminal case? Well, a lot. Like a lot. And I was saying yesterday, no, not yesterday, the day before, I was saying that there's probably a lot more wallets out there. There's probably a ton more information, data and evidence that's available that we would have got just from court documents, and they wouldn't have been redacted or anything. We would have got probably everything we were looking for, but the fact that he changed his plea to guilty just wipes the majority of that out. And you can go and you can do the dumb thing of speaking to ChatGPT, don't ask ChatGPT. You can go and do that. You can speak to your mate Grok, or, you know, speak to your iPhones or whatever about this thing, and it'll all really come out with the same answer. You're not going to get anything close to the amount of information you would have got if this thing was to have gone through a case. So all of that's done and all of that's dusted. The fact that he's pled guilty, it's just, we get a speed run. It's like going to a theme park and you've bought the fast track ticket. That's it. This, you know, do not pass go, do not collect $200. Good night and go to jail. It's not good for us, because going back to trial exhibit P301, just like the perfect example, this is a kind of evidence that we would have got, right? We would have got more evidence. The likelihood is, right, we would have got an unredacted version of trial exhibit P301, and you say to yourself, well, Jay, what would be in the unredacted version? Oh, you know, the memos for the CEX wallets. These are the kind of things that I was really thinking to myself, this is a game changer. And I had been like waiting for that date, waiting for him to get his day in court and this whole process to begin now that the civil case was done and dusted. But no, you're not going to get any of that. We're probably never ever going to know what these memos are, and that is not good, because you have to go back to the thing again of Binance, right? And who do all of those coins belong to? Because I'm absolutely certain they do not belong to users. You would not just sit there and watch the value of your assets just keep creeping down, keep creeping down. You're not even staked. Like, you can just sell them suckers. Why are you just sat there? Why? See what I'm saying? So again, even though that, and walking down that path is me kind of saying, well, they belong to Binance, and then someone else will be like, well, they have got a plan. It's like, well, no. Like, maybe they haven't. Maybe they don't belong to the CEX. Maybe we'll walk down the alternate path of saying, well, maybe, right, TFL and Do Kwon sent a lot of coins to Binance. Maybe they were trying to cover their tracks. Maybe they were trying to create some crazy diversion at the time. We just don't know. It's we don't know. We don't know. We don't know. We don't know. Oh, it drives me up the wall, you guys. I really was hopeful, like really, really hopeful that we would get what it drives me insane. But don't ever think that the United States can't come and get you, whatever country you're in, guys. They will come and get your backside and bring you in. The funniest thing is like, are we going to get like some sort of, I don't know, buddy up in prison with him and FTX? That would be quite interesting, because a lot of things do come out in jail. A lot of stories do get told. So you might find, I know, I think they call themselves snitches or whatever, someone who starts giving information, and we might gain a little bit more as time goes on, but not hopeful. You should really think to yourselves, you're just going to get nothing. Like, whatever we do get, it's just going to be like a crash report, kind of like the final judgment that we got with the civil case itself, which is still ongoing, by the way, you guys. We can actually take a look at that now. Let me just go to my bookmarks. No, not that one. Bring it back to the main stage. One sec, guys. I've got to use my login. Yeah, so it's still ongoing at the moment. We'll come back to that, guys. I'll get my login together. I haven't been onto that for some time now. So the SEC, this was another thing that I've been looking at. This is on the justice.gov website. So this is an official website. And it's more or less just them going through the fact that Do Kwon has now, in fact, pled guilty. As you can see here, Do Kwon pled guilty. This was a press release. This was the 12th of August. So this month, you guys, you know, this month, a couple of months ago. So I know I'm all caught up. It was recent. Let's just leave it as that. But they go through a lot here. But again, it's all stuff that we knew about Chai, Mira, Anchor. And they're more or less saying about the LFG guard, the misrepresentations, and this is why I keep saying to everybody about the LFG guard funds being illicit, and because they're illicit funds, the United States can't use those funds because they're going against everything that they said, right? The funds were gained illicitly. So for them to go ahead, like, it just simply doesn't work like that. And because they're obviously in crypto, they're just not going to do anything with them. And that's why the LFG reserves have sat there, even after they've liquidated everything, you guys, after they've returned the AVAX to the AVAX blockchain as per the final judgment. They've burned the remaining amount of UST that was held in LFG. Why would they not just take the BTC and sell it? We know from past experiences, they don't wait for high prices, low prices, where they just sell it. So these are the things that we should look at as an ecosystem instead of going around in circles and saying, well, let's upgrade. Like, upgrade to what? For what? To do what? So as part of his plea, he's going to be giving over a forfeit of $19 million. And you can probably imagine where that $19 million is going to come from. And if you can't, it's going to be coming probably from that 1,075 BTC on top of... And we'll need to get a court document up for this, actually, to find out. Hang on. So it's going to be the final judgment, isn't it, you guys? I want to know how much has actually been handed over already. Is it this one? Here, I've got it here. Haha! Found you. Right. So this is the final judgment, you guys. And it's down here. Oh, here we go. Okay. It is further ordered, adjudged and decreed that Kwon is liable for a disgorgement totaling 110,000, wouldn't that be nice? $110 million plus 14 plus 80. And then, okay, so we know that this all went ahead. So 204. So 204. Then essentially, right, you might not even need to chip into that 1,074. And then that kind of leaves us thinking again, you know, guys, like, what happens with that BTC? Where does the 1,075 BTC go? Where does the 313 BTC go? They are illicit funds, right? But if anyone had the right to claim those assets through legal means, and this like would mean hiring a company to actually contact the SEC on our behalf, us having a steward that handles a treasury for it to be returned to, it's all possible. But with Terra Classic, 110 validators, push pull, and then I find it's never like about building something that like is going to be really beneficial for the ecosystem. It's always going to be about the Burger King McDonald's thesis, isn't it? So yeah, this is essentially what you're going to get at the end and in the final judgment for the criminal cases. Everything that you see here, guys, I could pretty much guarantee word for word this will be in the final judgment, and there won't be much more on top of this. This is what they call an open and shut case, you guys. Real easy. And I was looking online. I think he's going to get sentenced for a long time. He'll never ever see the light of day ever again. Need to really start to think about this, you guys. There's not many validators on chain that, again, like are there for the ecosystem. And I don't mean this in a bad way, right? But like their focus is just on Lunar Classic. I think everybody at this point has got their own project. I myself being the same. The only difference for me is my projects are bound to the chain. One of them serves the ecosystem. The other one's an NFT project. Another one's on ice at the moment. But, you know, everybody's really working for the betterment of their ecosystem. And again, I have to say, this is not many validators out there now that are willing to go out and do the work and really start to get the gears going. It's one of those things. And I always want to be that guy that steps up and says, you know, why don't we go ahead and start to do these things and start. I always find whenever I push too hard or I move too fast or I want to do too much, it never, ever gets the support it needs. And that's just part of being HCC at the end of the day. It's not. And then the Terra Classic ecosystem, again, everybody's a validator. Essentially, everybody hates each other because you want to be better the other validators around you. So it's never easy. And this is where our ecosystem's not going to zero, or, you know, we're going to die, or it's going to be like an instant death. Our death will be very slow. It will be death by 1,000 cuts. And in our instance, it will be death by 1,000 dissections of the reward ratio. So it's a long time from now. But yeah, like I said, I always want to be that guy. I always want to be, you know, the buzzing one, the vibrant one, pushing all of these different things. But again, it's not. You don't simply push an idea in our ecosystem and people either go yes or people go no. It's right now I must go to X and I must create as much negative energy about this as I can. And people make it their mission to ensure something doesn't pass. It's the environment that's being created. I guess you reap what you sow. I don't know if you guys have that expression. What's the expression in your countries? I guess it would be the same, but maybe in a different language, or maybe you have like a, oh no, I always find that different expressions from different countries. Ah, lovely. Why can't a manual burn be actioned if DK causes a crash? Should be allowed to reduce the supply down massively. The problem is it's all just too far gone. It's too far gone. Why LUNC cannot be bullish? LUNC is still in downtrend. Yeah, everything is on a downtrend. And Jared, market module 2.0. Go back to the previous live stream. Have a listen to that. I also did some talking about the market module as well during this video. So I think we've covered the market module enough. It's like a pipe dream. Unless you have a market module that has mint to burn, everything else is pointless. You're just literally creating another swapping DEX, nothing more, nothing less. We should focus on either burning assets or repatriating them for a mint to burn mechanism. So yeah, but pump.fun, you guys. Could get real interesting. And yeah, I did, you know, I probably forgot to say, did dollar cost average here and then here. And then going to dollar cost average a little bit again today. And I'll keep coming back to that. Ponky again, guys, still trading this, still waiting for another big move upwards, because I know from previous experience, meme coins, trash coins, whatever, this is the next, from my experience, is going to be the next one that like does a big explosive move and becomes a bigger market cap, a more solidified market cap. You might feel different. I've made a lot of good gains off of that. Gold and silver still pushing, you guys, still moving higher, which isn't really good for business at the moment. It's got me nervous, because if this does keep moving, it's just going to wipe out any kind of momentum anywhere else in any ecosystem. And we saw this previously, like this lag. And I mean, really, this whole halving cycle has just been one lagged move, in my opinion. Everything's been a lot slower compared to previous data. Looking at everything, how it went down before, it's, yeah, really need to see gold chill out for a little bit. So what I'm going to do is go over Hang on a sec. Here we go. So this rare earth mineral situation's like unfolding at the moment. They're going to build a super power plant in the United Kingdom, but that's completely fallen through now. And now it's going to be moving to the United States. But again, I have to push back on the fact that Ukraine is the prime candidate for this scenario. And I really do think that Donald Trump, now that he's gained peace in Gaza, got this ceasefire between Gaza and Israel, I think Ukraine's next on the chopping board, and we probably could see a lot of the rare earth mineral mining move to Ukraine. And although Donald Trump said he wants to do it in the US, it's an interesting situation. This is definitely something that would have a very, very beneficial effect on the market. And again, we have to understand that this is why China holds so much power over the globe, and they can really push back on Donald Trump's reciprocal tariffs of 100%. So again, this is good for everybody. If it takes the power away from China and balances that out and decentralizes things a little bit more, then the effects in the future aren't going to be that great. But I always say this, these tariffs, these things, crypto is in the air, it's everywhere. It's blockchain technology, it's the future. It shouldn't be affected by any of this. It isn't really affected by any of this, but we're humans and we're affected by this. So yeah, this is what you're going to see happening as these kind of things unfold. So I don't know if you guys caught this, but I'm just going to be going through like few different articles and showing you guys some stuff that piqued my interest recently. And just before that big dump, there was apparently some sort of short position opened, and someone managed to pull like 200 to 300 million out of the crypto market. So this, to me, and this is what I was saying to everybody, how dirty crypto is. This doesn't surprise me one bit, but again, like, it's just more stuff to like unplug the one chip and put in the next chip. And I thought this was really interesting because I see so many people like getting uppity about it and saying about it. And it's like, well, it's done now. Like, nothing's going to change. Like, let's just move on. And it's just more of these different things to make people negative to, oh, look, it's DJ Trev. Nice to hear your voice, Jay. Oh, it's a shame I can't hear your voice. It's been a minute, my guy. It's been a minute. Bring back the burn tax. Did they remove the burn tax? Wait, did they remove the ban tax? Can somebody update me? Coinbase lists LUNC. Oh God, don't you start. You're like all of those people on X. Coinbase is gonna list LUNC soon. LUNC to $1. Oh my God, shoot me! God damn. Oh, I don't want to hear any more about Coinbase. Somebody mute him. God. They are going to be listing BNB though, apparently, which is, again, very interesting. I've always held a very small bag of BNB, not for anything other than gas fees on MetaMask. I think that was why I had like a cluster. I won't say how many I had, but like I had a little cluster of BNB coins. And I got them a long time ago, and they were in my MetaMask wallet. I was like, oh my God. I actually have some BNB coins. That's crazy. Oh my God, that's so crazy. Jared Miller still 0.5%. Oh, good. Not that it does anything. You know, you can have it at 1.2% or 5%. I just don't think any of it's going to make a difference at this point. I don't think anything we've done up until this point has really made a difference. You know, and now we're back full circle to chain upgrades. You know, finite value, Terra stable coins, trash. This is a pretty good idea if you can get the liquidity for it. Bam! You can get that liquidity from those final 8 wallets. Just saying. Connecting LUNC members across the world. Boring. IBC token rate limit module. Oh my God. No wonder people don't want to get involved in crypto. Jesus. Burn to earn future redemption program. How will you fund it? How will you make it sustainable? Oh my god, USTC supports staking system. God damn, Grandma, just shoot me. Just shoot me. Request for immediate governance proposal. No mint version. It's just like, what? Fully automated. Oh god. Oh, dearie me, you guys, dearie me. We need to get an end to all of these different cases. So much crap going on. Anything interested? Anything interesting on X? Oh my god, I'm never ever paying for an X subscription ever again. I just refuse to do it. What a bunch of trash. You should see my face of disgust right now. I'm just like, ugh. Look at all this. Crypto's overly complex. And people are like, you know, everybody else is going to come eventually. It's like, yeah, not if it's this complex. Bitcoin whale selling, put demand intensity two-way headline. I know a lot of short positions and stuff did get wiped out, considering that little bounce back that we had. Do you ever find out what happens with Exodus or Meta Gloria? Small Fry, you already know the answers to those questions. I don't even need to say that to you. But you should really go speak to, you know, those actual people. Bitcoin floated around. Oh my god, boring. Yes, this was interesting. The US government now holds 316,760 BTC, valued at $35 million, making it one of the largest known BTC holders. Oh my god. You'd think the Silk Road seizures would be like way, way up there. Most of them from the Bitfinex hack seizure. It's funny how that never made its way back to Bitfinex. I wonder why it hasn't made its way back to Bitfinex. Chen Z seizure. What is that? Chen Z. What? No. Hang on a minute. I think this is a different Chen Z. What? Where did it go? Wait, where did it go? There. Chen Z seizure. Does anybody know what that is? Oh, wait, here we go. 15 billion in Bitcoin from a Cambodian business conglomerate charged with running a global. The founder and chairman, Prince Holding Group, oversaw a vast criminal network in Cambodia built on forced labor that extracted billions from victims in the US and around the world. The indictment, which was unsealed in a federal court in Brooklyn on Tuesday, charges the 37-year-old combat with wire fraud and money laundering. Oh my God. Oh, he's still at large. God damn. So they're only going to give him 40 years, but DK's going to get life. Like, what? Vegas was a top 3 validator and he got rug pulled back down to, yeah, I did see that. That made me think to myself, though, guys, like, there's people out there that have the power to put a validator up to a serious amount of voting power, enough to turn the tides on a lot of these proposals where otherwise we would simply not have got them through. But if you had that amount of voting power, well, you could really start to do some good stuff. But again, you could never ever, and I have to say this, and it's not just me like bitching or moaning or whatever. Like, we all know this. Like, Vegas literally just gateholds or gatekeeps, whatever you want to call it. The whole Binance thing, doesn't want to share it with anyone, keeps it to himself. As a, you know, these are the things as well that like really irritate me on chain. But yeah, it's there, it's happening. But this is crazy. $15 billion and he's still at large. Yeah, damn. Could buy some Lamborghinis with that. Not that I want a Lamborghini. I'd rather like a Range Rover Defender or something. What next, Jay? Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Let me grab my magic 8 ball. Hang on. All right. Magic 8 Ball, what's next? I don't really think you're the answer to that question, my friend. You may have missed it, but your character played a major role in my fan fiction medium novels. I didn't get it. Is that like supposed to be like funny, or I don't know, maybe I missed the joke. Fan fiction novels. Why are you writing children's books or something now? I heard there's a lot of money in that, especially if you do it on Amazon. Yo, this is kind of crazy, you guys. So I'm gonna be I'm gonna be here for probably about another 15 minutes, you guys, and then I'm gonna go off and probably make like one video, post that, and get a little update up. Probably just talking about some of the stuff we've already talked about. God, my English is terrible. What we've already spoken about on these live streams. But yeah, don't expect a lot from me, guys. People are saying like, what's next and stuff. Like, we're spent here at HCC. Spent like 20, I don't know, something close to like $27,000 on LUNC and the ecosystem's just not there. It's just not, the community's not there. The support's not there. So like, we're spent here. You know, I'm recovering from having my back fused, and we've not been working for 4 months. Like, we're spent, guys. Like, the validator's not, you know, turning a profit. It's losing. You know, we're just here for you guys. That's it. But don't expect much. Like, we'll be lucky to get like a couple videos out a week at this point. But just hoping to do these live streams at a very minimum with you guys each and every day. Yeah, I think this is really interesting. A lot of talk around XRP and stuff at the moment, you guys. Again, this is something that everyone in my family that wanted to invest in crypto and had spoken to me about it, the only thing I got them invested in and helped them like do it with, because obviously they're my family members, was getting them a very small bag of XRP. I do really, truly think that if this is the .com era of crypto, XRP is likely going to be one of those candidates that's going to pop out as an end result. Like, I really do. Even here now, top 5 cryptocurrencies. Like stable coins, I think their days are numbered. Now, if you're from the United Kingdom, you can probably understand why I'm saying this at the moment. But stable coins just create like a crazy loophole. And they've tried to rule out yield-bearing stable coins, but CEXs can still provide them. It just means the everyday person like you, me, or your cat, or your auntie, or your nan, or whatever can't produce a yield-bearing stable coin. But a decentralized product actually can. So again, you get all of these legal loopholes. I just don't think stable coins are going to be around for long. Even in my country, you can keep a lot of assets in stable coins, and as long as you just put them in there once, leave them, don't touch them, they're like a huge, essentially, right? You don't pay the taxes on any of it until you start to move it back into fiat and stuff like that. It's really weird with all of the laws and everything at the moment. Again, there's just too many legal loopholes of all of this stuff. And the UK, they're going to be capping and limiting the amount of stable coins that you can actually hold, which is going to be diabolical. So I know a lot of you are probably thinking, Jay, why don't you talk about this lovely, removal of forked modules? Like, what do you want me to say? I wrote a super fan fiction about Terra Classic for fun. The HCC character saves the day. Well, it sounds much better than what I always hear about Believes. I don't know, like, people are like, what's your beef with Believes? I'm like, I've never even spoken about the guy other than just like nips like this. Crazy. Well, I just hope you weren't doing any bad British voice impressions. God. Yeah, you always get them online, but I actually traveled in America for a little bit and no one ever imitated my accent in front of me, which I found quite interesting. I was like, oh, that's funny, because like anytime I ever speak to anybody online, they start mimicking my accent, but like no one wanted to do it when I was there. Kind of crazy. It sure has been a nutshell of how the validators are now voting power in the top 3. Well, you know, guys, like, what do you expect? The validators are going to do what the validators do, right? USTC up a bit. I think USTC's up more than a bit. I think if you measured it, it was like, and again, only take these measurements with like a pinch of salt. But going from that low, which is on the bottom of that line, yeah, it's like almost 211% to the top of where it spiked already today. Obviously, it's come back down a little bit, but yeah, I think you could put more work right now into USTC. If you give USTC some sort of intrinsic value, give it a use case, a use purpose, and bring back in that mint to burn feature inside the market module, you could then use USTC to drive value back into LUNC some way, shape, or form. It just really, and from my perspective, you need to create something that's like yield bearing. And the way you could do that is, again, through the market module, but you need to have a mint to burn feature. So yeah, 3 p.m. What will Trump tell us? I don't know. Hopefully it's something about securing peace in Ukraine. Pokemon cards are on the up, mate. You've been dabbling. God, I've been dabbling since I was like 4 years old or something. I can't even remember. Yeah, I buy, sell, trade Pokemon cards. Me and the moderators, we all do the same. Very much into them. But yeah, they're always going to be going perpetually up. So whenever you're looking into buying something like that, my advice is always think about the consumer base. Pokemon cards are still gaining value because they're still selling new Pokemon cards to this day, and they're very popular. But they're not selling trains anymore. You know, you don't have train collectors anymore. That was my parents' parents that did those kind of things. Those hobbies die out, the collectors die out, which means it becomes a niche market. So therefore, the collector's items are simply not worth that much anymore. Whereas Pokemon, well, my youngest will be a Pokemon fan. So again, that's where the intrinsic value comes from in Pokemon cards. But yeah, guys, been a good one today. We've covered, you know, a fair few things, but really just touching base on a lot of the stuff that I'd already been through. I just kind of wanted to drill it into you guys a little bit more, and maybe you'll go out and you'll go and speak to your validators that you're staking with, and maybe speak to them. You know, these are all of the things that we really should start to look at instead of just going around in circles. To end up at that same result. We are literally doing Einstein's definition of insanity. If the MM is reactivated and it works, it might be what we need to start restoring investor confidence. Yeah, absolutely. If you do it right with the mint to burn, yeah, definitely. Could not agree more with you guys. But look, hopefully I can get a video out. Try catch that. Drop a like if you can. Share. And aside that, guys, look, I'll likely catch you in the next one. But yeah, hopefully tomorrow another live stream. But we'll keep doing these. We'll keep touching base. But yeah, catch you on the next one.